All right, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Grow Family Network. And today I wanted to do just a video about the fig trees. When I decided what to plant around the chicken yard, I started researching what are some of the best trees that you can plant. And you're looking at pomegranate, figs being one of the best ones because of the size of the leaves. If you look at these sizes of the leaves, you will know that they're way bigger than pomegranate trees or just some other. There's a couple other ones that you can have. Look at the little spider right there. There's a couple of different varieties of trees that you can plant by your chicken yard. And I'm going to tell you some of the reasons why. If you're looking at a fig tree, first off, in the summertime, springtime, when it's really hot, your birds really need some shade. So you have this here, but if you don't have a cover for them, one of the best things to have is having these fig leaves where it can shade out the yard. So you can see how we got it on this side. So as they grow and the sun tends to be overhead or this way, these fig trees will cover this whole area, and it'll give them a place to kind of hide out in the afternoon sun or from the afternoon sun. Also, just by looking at these leaves, you can tell that it's getting close to fall, the end of the season for them. Even though these are looking good, these leaves are going to fall off in the winter. Also the perfect thing, right? Because at that point your birds are going to need more heat than shade. So by having these fig trees here, they're going to defoliate, and then all that sunlight that those birds need during the cold of the winter, they'll be able to come out here and not have so much shade around your chicken yard. So for me, there's so many different varieties of figs. I just decided to try to get as many different fig varieties that I have. And a guy actually that's not far from where we live actually was the one that gave us most of these fig cuttings that you see about, I'll say, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And they're just starting. This thing was a little stick when he first gave it to us, and we just put little sticks in the ground, and you can see in that 2 years the size. I think this one has done the best, maybe because of where it is in relation to that big gap of sunlight that comes through early in the morning, but this one seems to have done the best. These on the side were kind of covered in grass, high grass, so we've been trying to keep the grass away from around them, just to give them time to grow. At first I kept the grass up a little bit higher around them because I didn't want the cutting to dry out. So I kind of left the grass kind of hiding it just a little bit. This is another one. This is actually one of our air layers. One of the cuttings that the guy gave us, Mr. Jesse gave us, actually didn't make it. So I started putting some air layers in. You can see this part has died off. Good thing about figs is you can actually notch them out, and these new branches are going to come out even though this one is dead. Also, by having fruit trees closer to your chicken yard, you come out to a fig tree and the birds have eaten 5 or 6 of them as you pick them. Well, you don't have to go anywhere. You can just take them right off the tree and give them right to your chicken. So that's one of the beautiful things about it. Also, coming over here, I think these are doing a little bit less growth, probably because of it's under this oak tree, under this canopy. They're not growing as much. This one is putting on, but if you can see this one isn't putting on. Don't get jealous. This one isn't putting on as much growth. This is kind of how it looked when I actually planted it. So maybe this is the furthest that I can go. I had some cuttings down the backside as well. None of those took because I think it was just no sunlight. Also, we have a muscadine vine. You can't see it, but up there in that tree, somebody must have planted a lot of muscadine seeds, just threw them out, and one fell right here, and I was able to protect it to let it come up. So you can see it's coming up here. Look like I got one over there, and I'm just letting it grow up, and I'm gonna let it grow up onto this. And it's just like the fig. It's actually one of those vines that will defoliate during the winter. So right now, as it grows and grows, it can actually cast a little shade as well onto the chicken cage as it grows. Get a little fluffy. As it grows and gets bigger. Of course, I really want to try to catch some of these. Sorry. Catch some of these and just bring them along, and I'll have to figure out a way to try to prune them a little bit. But I think having the muscadine just as well, instead of having it in the tree, why not have it here where if it actually makes fruit and we don't get to all of them, they can drop right here. The chickens can get a little snack, and also they can, you know, have more nutrition to give us the eggs. So trying to get a system around it. A lot of people don't really plant a lot of trees or berries and bushes. Blueberries might be another one. Also, one thing around here, I don't fertilize. So this is one of the things that I'm doing, is I'm hoping from the rain that those roots would actually go down in the ground and feed itself towards the chicken cage. And every time it rains, it'll be getting that nitrogen, but it'll be like a diluted version of that nitrogen. And I think that's better, because I'm not having to fertilize that. Maybe I'll put some blueberries in, I'm thinking maybe, but for now I want the figs to kind of grow. And you can also just prune them. Figs are one of the most forgiving plants to prune. If you don't like the way it's getting, if it starts to grow onto the chicken cage, you can just prune it off. It's so easy. He has to make sure. This is my little dog that's up. But you can see how beautiful they're looking. This is why, I think this is why they're so green. Besides here, a lot of this is old growth from when I first planted the air layer. So these are kind of fading out. But you can see all of that new growth is just, it's looking green. Even right here, old one, you can see these little new ones coming out. Same thing. So a lot of the newer growth is looking good, is looking green. Another thing that we're gonna do a video on is being able to take these. You can take these and make teas. It's a lot of things you can do with these. You can cut them and plant them in anything and grow another tree. So figs are just one of those trees that is so many varieties. You look around your land and your yard and you're like, where do I plant all this stuff? Like, where do I plant? We got citrus planted here. We have a persimmon planted there. And if you can get an area, a small area, and put in 10 or 12 trees as a border around your chicken yard, then I think that's like the perfect situation. And then you'll give your dog somewhere where, as he grows, and to watch these chickens, he can have a place to come out here and kind of in the summertime sit under the fig tree and kind of watch your chickens for you. Hopefully not eat your babies, but it's all about, I think this system is all about making them a little bit happier, making a little bit more habitable environment for them. They have this huge tree line here, so they do get a lot of shade. But if they can just have some more shade, where if they want it, they can come here and, you know, hide in a corner, you know, laying their eggs in a corner and not having to actually go in there to feel comfortable or safe from the birds. So this is going to be a developing system that over time we're going to just develop that system. But this is how it looks now. And actually we had a subscriber to actually send us some
azaleas.
No, not azaleas, zinnias.
Zinnias,
Yeah.
azaleas.
Sent us the zinnias, and they've gotten huge. So I don't know if that's from Bev's like to take these and put them in her hair. So I don't know if that's from the chicken yard as well. I've cut a lot of them out. I only left this one for the video and to try to let it go to seed a little bit more. But we did have a good little border around here. You can see this is one of the ones
A stick.
that I cut out as well. But we did have them. You can plant anything here. Last year I had sunflowers around it. Something else that you can use to feed your chickens. Just let your sunflowers grow. When they go to seed, kind of throw them. They're at a standoff right now. That's scary. They scared of you yet?
They ain't scared of him.
They're not scared of him. But if he got in that cage, they will be scared of him. So he doesn't dig at all. As you can see, I actually got this put in anyway, but he can't dig under the cage as far as being out here. Now, I don't have anything over there. He got a lot of digging, but he could get in over there. So that's it. I just wanted to talk about the figs in general. And here's another one, Cadota fig. You can see, basically all I did was took a cutting. I didn't like the way this one was growing. I took a cutting off of it, air layer actually. And here's another one. I can put this one in somewhere if one of them dies. The only reason I don't have one here is because of this door. If I want to be able to utilize it, I could. So I don't have one right here, but if one dies somewhere else, I can take that one and put it in, sell it, or just put it somewhere else in the yard. So I think that was an informative video for people that's looking for ideas of just what to do with a chicken yard. What else can I do? This is one of the good things. Plant some of your food around it. It's less fertilizer because the rain actually runs off and actually feeds the trees. So you'll be good on at least on your fertilizer and nitrogen. I think that's it. Anything else you could think of, Belle?
No, that's it.
That's it. All right, so thank y'all for watching the Grow From The Network. Hope that video helps. Hope that video turns your yard into something more productive, kind of like this yard is becoming. Thank y'all for watching. And as always, grow, grow, grow.